Hiya folks, JD here, and today we are looking at the Fimi A3 and the Hubsan Zino. Now, why have I put these two quadcopters together? Why am I even entertaining looking at both of them as sort of a comparison? Because, and I'll tell you why. Apart from the Zino being a foldable quad, I think these two are very, very similar in execution. They both have a 3-axis gimbal. They both have high quality cameras with very good recording footage, very good output. They both have long battery life. They are both excellent flyers, in my opinion, and they both work extremely well on the transmitter and relay back footage without there being any issue. This is 5.8 gigahertz. This is 5G. So let's start off very, very basic with flight and battery. So battery life of both can be quite similar. So on a very still day, I've had 20 minutes out of this, 23 minutes out of this, and I've had roughly approximately the same out of this one as well. Now, that has been video recording pretty much constantly, just flying about, you know, just having a bit of fun, using a couple of features there as well, and I've had some pretty good time. The standard footage that I output from here is 4K at 30 frames a second, and the footage I output from here is 1080p at 30 frames a second. Now, as for transmission range, again, both of them are very good. This has got a 1 kilometer range. This has got a 1 kilometer range as well, or just under 1 kilometer range. And I found, again, I haven't taken them to the 1 kilometer, but I have taken them over 200 and over 300 meters. The Zino I've done over 500 meters, and again, I found that it is very, very, very good indeed. Now, when you look back at both of these, which one do I think flies better? Well, they both very much the same. And what I mean by that is, when you fly both of them, they both feel as if they're on rails when they're up at about 20 meters or higher. They fly very well, they corner very well, they're both very, very quick quadcopters, 18 meters per second, and I think this one is roughly 18-20 as well, within that same ballpark. Now, there is one thing the Zino has that the Fimi doesn't come with, and that is a gimbal cover. So I've got my gimbal there open with my little camera, and there's a gimbal cover on the Zino. I would quite like them to actually fit a gimbal cover to the Fimi. If there is one, there wasn't one included in my package. That's why I'm just shouting it out now. So about everything else, let's look at the video. The video that you're about to see here is a side-by-side comparison, but I'm not going to be saying which one's better and which one's worse. The reason why is because the Zino's footage is recorded in 4K and the Fimi's footage is recorded in 1080. They've not been doctored in any way. These are just direct output from the cameras directly onto the SD card. Now, the SD card is on the side here. The SD card is in the back by the battery bay underside there. Now, both of them have used exactly the same SD card, not the same type, the exact same card, which is a 64 gig class 10 card. I use the same one in all of my quadcopters. When I replace it, I buy the same card and use that same card in all of my quadcopters. The reason I do that is because I know that particular SD card gives me is fast enough to write back 1080, 2.7 and 4K video, as well as I can then say if the video isn't good, I know it 9 out of 10 times it's going to be the quadcopter and not the SD card. Every 4 months I throw the SD card in the bin and I buy a brand new one, just to ensure that the SD card doesn't degrade too much with excessive reads or writes. Now, when looking at this side-by-side footage, you will notice straight away one thing. I honestly think, before we get into that, both of these days are quite similar. They were both filmed in the summer, they were both filmed in 2019, and they are both filmed on lovely sunny days. Now, all settings on the Fimi and all settings on the Zino of both of the footage that you were watching is all set to auto. I haven't altered the aperture, I haven't altered the range, I haven't zoomed in. This is exactly what you're going to see out of the box. But bear in mind, it's recorded direct to SD card. Now, I personally think, well, having these two side by sides, even though the Zino's colour pops a little bit more, it's a little bit richer, I think the clarity is a little bit better with the Fimi. Now, it's all down to personal preference, it's down to what you see. But how I see it, I see the colour is better with the Zino, and I see the clarity and actually the quality seems to be better from the Fimi. That being said, I could sit down and look at this all day. Unless we're flying on the same day in the same location, it's very difficult to judge both of them, but I'm just telling you what I see. Again, it's down to preference, and this is my preference. So, out of both of them, which one would I buy? Well, honestly, both of them. If you are on a budget, then I think the Fimi comes a little bit cheaper, only by about £20 or £30 though, because the Zino has dropped in price and is continuing to carry on that low price as well. They're both over the £200 mark, so about £250, £270. I think the full price of the Fimi with the 2 battery, which is what I've got, the 2 battery pack Fimi and transmit, is about £243, and I think this comes in at about £260 for the Zino, I believe, at the time of recording this, which may have drastically altered by the time you see this. Now, I love both of them. I think both of them are great. Would I update either of the firmware? Well, to be perfectly honest with you, the way I look at it and the way that I'm looking at it with these two quads is the firmware they're on, the firmware they work, I'm going to leave them exactly as they are. If they start to show that there's an issue, or if there's anything that I haven't seen yet, bearing in mind the Zino I've flown over 20 times at this stage, and the Fimi I have flown maybe 6, because I've only had this one a week. I haven't seen there being any abnormal movements, any abnormal things coming from the Fimi or from the Zino. I've seen them both fly very, very well. I've taken them both up in excessive winds, and again, they've both flown very well. Return to home functions have worked. Follow me functions have worked. I had struggled a bit with orbit with this, but that was because of the low battery. There's been no end of stuff which has worked with the Fimi, and honestly, I love it. I think it's great. I think it is very, very good, and I would recommend both of them to anybody, but that's been my experience. Now, if you haven't seen everything to do with the Zino, and if you haven't seen everything to do with the Fimi, you'll find all of the links in the description should you want to check them out. Alright then, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you ever so much for watching and listening. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and ring that bell too. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time, my friends, happy flying.